Do you know what the next step is?
Don't worry, I don't need to know. I'm the master at winging it. I have 3 chickens in the living room. I'm born to wing it. Anyway, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Cooking with Raw. This is kind of interesting because this is a little different for us. Typically we are, and you can find us on Dose of Vitamin Z on Instagram. That is our cooking channel where my wife and I post cooking content. But today we're here for a very special reason. As many of you know, my day job is actually not a world famous chef from Bosnia, but really honestly I work at the world famous, at least I believe it to be the world famous IMAA, and we are having our first ever virtual walk around the world. It's unique because we are getting to show you guys all of the different cuisines that Walk Around the World has, and all of the beautiful dishes that people around the world make and enjoy right here in Rochester. As many of you know, my wife and I, we are of Bosnian descent. We are Bosniaks.
Hence the sweatshirt.
Yes, hence the shirt. So Prijedor is the city I wasn't born. I was born in Banja Luka, but this is where my family is from. Sarajevo, this is where my wife's side of the family is from, and it's really a unique tale because Sarajevo is our capital city. It's in the heart of Europe. Literally, Bosnia is the heart-shaped country, and many of you guys may remember it if you're old enough with the wars that happened in the 90s and the genocide that took place in Bosnia in the 90s, and that's why we were able to relocate here in the U.S. Both my wife and myself.
And last year, actually, for Walk Around the World, we ended up getting engaged. So it's our 1-year engagement anniversary.
Yes, I completely forgot. Isn't that funny how women remember those kind of things? Anyway, today's thing on the menu is a very special thing, and this hasn't even been posted on our Cooking with Raw segments on Instagram even, so you guys are in for a very big treat. We are making a special sweet called Tufahije. It comes from the Turkish Arabic word for apple, which is tufahatan, but it is, and as many of you may or may not know, Bosnia has had over 600 years of Ottoman or Turkish influences come through that land, and so a lot of our cuisine can be traced back and dated back to the Ottoman times, but with a Bosnian kick and a Bosnian twist to it. So
are you going to tell them what this
No,
is?
I will not, because my wife is actually the pro at that. So voila.
Okay, so yes, today we're going to be making tufahije. It's a walnut filling with a poached apple that's covered in this sugary syrup. It's not necessarily the healthiest thing, but it is really good, and it's perfect since the apple season is soon to be coming, right? I think August it starts.
I'm not an apple connoisseur, so I cannot answer that. I do know I like to eat apples. That's about the extent of it.
I think it's August that they start harvesting them.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
Sure.
But anyways, it's perfect. It's great. You guys are gonna really enjoy it. It does take a little bit of time to prep, but it's not too complicated. There's not many ingredients to it. And if you just give it some time, you'll be able to master this recipe as well.
And I have no doubt in my mind that any of you guys watching this will be able to do it yourselves. If I can do it, well, I don't know if I can do it, but if I could do it, you guys can do it too. Stay tuned.
For this recipe, I'm going to be using 1 liter of water, 1 vanilla sugar. This you can find at the international market if you have one near you. If you don't have to use it. I just like the smell of the vanilla and the taste. This right here is 650 grams of crystal sugar, and then I have a lemon here that I'm going to end up cutting in half and using half the juice of this lemon, and I'm going to put all of this together in this pot and let that boil until the sugar is dissolved, and that is going to be our syrup in which we're going to cook the apples and which we're going to use to cover the apples later on. So I'm going to go ahead and put all this together, and I'll show you guys how that's done.
I have the sugar syrup on the stove at medium-high. Occasionally stir that so it doesn't burn, but just make sure that the sugar melts, and you want that nice syrup texture to it. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel all of these apples and core them. I'm using a corer. I think that's what it's called, an apple corer. And then you can peel them with a knife. I'm using a little peeler here for that. And we're just going to get all of these peeled. And you want to prep a dish. I'm using this one that's a little bit deeper. I think this is about 2 inches deep. You want something that's a little bit deeper because you're going to end up putting the syrup over these apples so that way they can soak it up. So if you're using like a flat plate, it's going to get everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and get all of these apples peeled, and then I'll be back to show you what the next step is. I did a couple here. I'm going to show you. Made it a little bit larger of a hole than just this so that I can have more filling inside. It's up to you how large you want to make it, but just make sure you get all the seeds out and all of the core, because you don't want anyone to be eating that when they're having these. I forgot to mention that I used Golden Delicious apples. You can also use Granny Smith. You just want them to be small to medium size and make sure they don't have any dents in them. This is the syrup, and if you put the vanilla sugar in here, it smells amazing. As you can see, all the sugar has dissolved and it is lightly boiling. I'm gonna turn down the temperature to about a 3, and then I am slowly going to start putting these apples in. So here I'm gonna use, and you're gonna cook them 6 minutes on, or not, sorry, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, excuse me, about 5 minutes on each side. So we're gonna set them in there one by one. Some people cover it. I'm not going to cover it. I'm just gonna leave it uncovered and cook them. It's been about 5 minutes on each side. They shouldn't be too soft, and you also don't want them to be too hard. You kind of eyeball it, but I'm gonna take them out right now. You can kind of feel to see how soft they are if they're like this. But if they become too soft, then they'll start breaking up on you, which is not something that you want. Next up is going to be the filling. There's many different recipes out there. This is just kind of what I've created and what I personally like.
Sorry for the Bosnian, you just got a free Bosnian lesson. Mjeveni means grounded.
Okay, so grounded walnuts. It's really hard to translate these sometimes, but 100 grams of, and I'll leave all the details in the description below so you guys can follow. And then I have here about 50 grams of grounded graham cracker. I use the Bosnian type. If my Bosnian's out there, it's called Lane Plasma Kex, and that's what I ended up using. And then,
but a regular graham cracker would suffice.
Regular graham cracker would suffice, grounded. And then what I'm also going to be adding to this is a couple spoons of schlag, or like whipped cream, and I'm gonna make my own. So what you can do if you don't have all of these Bosnian goodies with you, like the schlag hit or the schlag creme, you can take heavy... Or the
German Dr. Oetker Whippet?
Oetker?
I don't know, you studied German,
anyways,
not me.
This is a whippet, but what I was gonna say is you can take heavy whipping cream, about 150 to 200 mLs, and you can go ahead and whip that, add some powdered sugar to it. To stabilize it, you can use this whippet. You can sometimes find it at supermarkets, but it's a hit or a miss. What are you doing?
Heavy whipping cream for those of you who do not have these in their fridge.
In pantry. But yes, so you can substitute it with heavy whipping cream, because that's what we're also going to use later on to decorate the top of these. And it's really up to you. So if you want to use the heavy whipping cream, you can. If you have your own whipped cream topping that you swear by, you can use that as well. I'm going to be using the schlag creme, which I'm going to be mixing with just some whole milk in the KitchenAid. So I'm going to get that going. I do also want to add, if you are a lover of cinnamon, you can add a little bit of cinnamon as well into it. I think I might do it for this batch just for the sake of it. I'm gonna take the Agda, as we say it in Bosnian, which is the sugary syrup that we made. I'm gonna take a little bit of it, mix it in with this mixture until I just get a really nice creamy filling. There's no exact measurement to this, but I will try and measure it out for you guys a little bit. Basically, the mixture that you're trying to get is something that isn't too thick but not too watery either. So I think I'm gonna stick with this one right here.
Now we're at the next part in this whole Tufahije making process. Some would argue this is probably the most interesting piece of this whole part because this is kind of where the tufahije starts to take its shape. As you can see, we have our apples nice and poached, and then my wife will be explaining the rest.
Yes, so to fill these apples, what you can do is just take a plastic Ziploc bag, put your filling inside that, cut a hole, and use it. It'll make it a lot easier and less messier. I'm going to be using a pastry bag. You can also do that. And if you don't have any of those, you can just use 2 spoons and fill them up. That's how we did it back home.
You may be noticing a toothpick in this one.
I don't know if I will. It's right here.
Well, whether you do or don't, I just brought your attention to it, which was on purpose. The toothpick actually denotes the one tufahije that is made without cinnamon, where the rest of the other, or I guess I could say the other 5, have the cinnamon blend in them. Now with that, and it's hugely important that I say that because someone might say, hey, there's a toothpick in there. Anyway, okay. I digress. Here's my wife.
One of the final steps in this process is now to take your sugar syrup, and you want to cover each of them a little bit and also fill this container not halfway, maybe a third of the way, I would say. Just enough so that the bottom of the tufahije is sitting in that syrup and it's soaking it up.
In that Agda.
Agda, yes. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to slowly pour it all over each apple.
And also on the countertop so that I have more to clean this after.
Did I really pour it on the countertop?
Yes, you sure did.
Not that much. It's a drop.
Okay. It's sticky water. We made it to the end. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this end piece. This end piece is actually hugely important because this is the decoration piece. This is where the tufahije competition really begins. It's where you set your tufahije apart from your neighbor Shafika's tufahije.
Oh my god.
Begin.
There's different ways of decorating these. The main way that people do it is usually with the whipped cream on top. You can top it with a red cherry, you can do some grounded walnuts, or you can take a whole walnut and stick it on top. What I'm gonna do is put some whipped cream on top, and then I think I'm probably just gonna top it off with these whole walnut pieces. So I'll zoom you guys in to show you what I'm doing, and that is the end of this.
We made it. You made it. We're here. All that's left now is to try our final product, our tufahije.
I did a photo shoot of it, so it took a minute, but the main part is done. Let's try these. I'm gonna take...
I want to make this very clear for the camera. I've tried a lot of my wife's cookings, a lot of Bosnian foods, obviously, and I've had tufahije before, but I've never had, ever, on camera, or ever since we've been married, my wife's tufahije. So you guys will also get an honest and real reaction, hopefully unfiltered, and hopefully to what you hope is the best reaction, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you serve it, you want to do it in a bowl, or you could do it in a plate, but make sure that you put a little bit of the syrup over it, since it's been sitting and probably the top of it probably dried up. What, you don't like it?
Gotcha!
Hey!
I don't know if that makes it in there or not, but...
Did you get it in my hair?
Yeah, it's all over your hair.
Oh my gosh.
Go look, go look. Go look in the bathroom.
Rawhi got whipped cream on my face and in my hair. Thank you very much, husband.
Of the year.
To the conclusion, they're not bad, they're good.
You know what? I really like them. I would have them again. I would probably have mine without the whipped cream. I'm just not a fan of the whipped cream. But that is obviously your preference, whether you like them or not. But they are very good. I would. No, you have whipped cream all over your hair, babe.
Oh,
you look like.
Well, thank you.
You look like you got whipped cream in your hair.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video, got some entertainment out of it, learned something new. Thank you guys for watching and staying along. And if you end up making it, let us know. We'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions on it as well. Thank you, and have a great night, great day, whenever you're watching this.
How would we say that in Bosnian?
Laku noć.
Do viđenja I laku noć.